Dear friends in Christ with the Lake Huron Presbytery, it's been a long time since I've been in your physical presence at a Presbytery meeting. I think the last time we were together might have been the summer of 2022, right there in the Lake Huron Presbytery offices. We as a family, Juan, our daughter Orly, and myself, we're so grateful that you as a presbytery have journeyed with us in mission service and in the accompaniment of the partners, whether in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Indonesia, wherever that might be. You have been a big part of that as our home presbytery. We're so grateful that we can share a few more updates with you in the following minutes. And we also invite your prayers for us as we continue in this new transition from mission service now into serving as an ecumenical liaison for myself. I think some of the highlights really stem from lowlights. And what I mean by that is sometimes the sense of justice, even for what might seem like a long-standing or long ongoing trial. And where I'm sharing with you is that, for example, because of the ways that migrant institutions invited us, especially me, as someone who might be able to share in the struggles of different overseas Filipino workers, OFWs. And in the case of Mary Jane Veloso, whose name may be familiar to you, she's the woman who had been in Indonesia for almost 15 years, more on death row. And she was accused of drug trafficking and completed her sentence in Indonesia. And last December, right before Christmas, arrived home. But being part of the welcome party at the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning alongside of her family, that is a highlight. I mean, this is just what we had been working towards for the last 15 plus years, and I got to be a small part of that. On the other end is the experience of worship in some very, very surprising places. And this is a major highlight for me, is that you know that I've been working alongside of not only migrants organizations, but the migrants themselves, to also get to know some of the families who are left behind in these places like the Philippines, and to understand what it means to be a family who is torn apart by migration. This is what I mean by sometimes the highlights also are lowlights.
On another note, I work a lot with people that suffer from the war on drugs led by the previous administration. Which include a lot of children and families who lost a father or brother to the war on drugs. And of course, there's always a sense of powerlessness and kind of hoping for the best. So at the end of our term, being able to see that the International Court of Justice was able to start a trial and arrest and have a big scrutiny on the different crimes that had been committed during that war on drug was also a big victory for us, and help us also to kind of close one of those relationships we had in a positive note. As usual, I'm always very, very astonished to see that the root causes create in a lot of places the same effect. But of course, the way children react to that, the way the resilience and the ability they have to still find magic, it was very interesting to see where the magic here is in the Philippines, because they have a different idea of the world. They grew up with a different heroes, different magic system around them, where mountains and rivers and play games outside are different than ours in France, in the US, or in Egypt. So it was very always striking to me and very impressive to me to discover how they create, how their imagination are built, and how in that imagination they can find resilience and a way to cope with the situation in which they grew up in.
I think the other piece is that we really are a lot more interconnected, even if we have never introduced you to Filipino friends directly. The name Mary Jane Veloso might just still be only a name or even a figment of your imagination. But I hope it's not that. I hope it's more than just that. I hope it's a reminder of the woman or the mother or the person who has to go abroad and the person who is still seeking justice. In this way, through your prayers, through your actions, through the ways that you supported her and her family, even from afar. You might not have been with us as we worshiped together or attended a funeral together, but you were there with us. You were there with us as we lived among our Filipino communities and colleagues. And that really reminds me of the value also of cross-cultural accompaniment. I think many of you already valued us because of our cross-cultural nature of our couplehood. In fact, you could also say that you were already engaged with us, which enabled you to engage with the Filipino people or people of other Southeast Asian countries. And what I mean by this is kind of in two ways. I think you might read the newspaper just a little bit differently if you hear about typhoons, earthquakes in the Philippines, because you know we are there. It reminds me that I know somebody, but I really hope also the value of this cross-cultural accompaniment is you know people who might be directly affected also by these calamities. So in that way, we know that same accompaniment is not going to be there in the interim unified agency. We will soon be moving not to return to Michigan. Unfortunately, I know many of you would want us to return to Michigan, but we have decided to move to Sacramento, California, where we will hopefully still be around Asian American, Hispanic, or Latino American communities, given the nature of who our family is today and the pull also from our nuclear family. However, Juan will conclude and has concluded mission service. I'm invited to serve as an International Ecumenical Liaison, IEL. I'll continue to serve with some Asian and Pacific partners. Again, not in the same way, but in a way that prioritizes partners more than the incarnational relationships on the ground, but in a way that might still be very exciting because we can also focus on accompaniment, advocacy, peace and justice, whatever these expressions of ministry might look like in this emerging new model. So from Sacramento, I will be working in a deployed way as an international ecumenical liaison. So even though I'm working from home, I'll be making good use of the airports of Sacramento. Being on the West Coast will help us to travel more easily to Asia and the Pacific and to accompany partners from there. So even as we move forward, we still covet your prayers. We still covet even your patience and understanding as this model continues to develop. And if you would still like to stay connected, we invite that. We may not be in Midland, Michigan with you, but you can accompany our colleagues even as we accompany them in Asia and the Pacific. Again, we so appreciate you, your friendship, your solidarity, your support of us through the prayers, through the financial gifts, through the ways that you have joined us in mission service too. So thank you very much, and please do reach out, email or otherwise. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.